Years from 1963 to 1978, am I right? Okay, and of course has been also a contemporary of Rabbi Elmaleh. So it's really with great pleasure and honor that I ask Rabbi Masliach to give us a few words, please.
My wife and my family came to this country in 1964. And one of the first things we did was to visit Dr. Elmaleh in his home. And in that introductory meeting, I had the pleasure of listening to how Dr. Elmaleh came to this country as the successor of the great Sabbatai Marais. But he said, before you leave here, I want you to listen to a very important function of mine at Mikveh Israel. And that is the blowing of the shofar. And age 92, he blew the shofar in my presence. Mrs. Elmaleh heard the sound of the shofar, and she ran up to his office, and he said, Rabbi Masliach, I am sure that my husband did not blow the shofar. I said, I can guarantee that he didn't. But I was sure that he did. And I was so excited about that shofar blowing. As a memento of my visit, he gave me this envelope. It had the history of the Rock of Gibraltar and the Jews of Gibraltar. And it was printed in 1933. In these articles, Rabbi Elmaleh was so happy to show me pictures that are contained in these articles, many of his own family and many of the Jews of Gibraltar. It is something which I treasured all of these years, and it is my pleasure now to present it to Congregation Mikveh Israel as a legacy of Gibraltar, the Jews of Gibraltar, and the Rock of Gibraltar. Rabbi Kebai.
Thank you very much.
This envelope had the two articles, and it was loaned to the Jewish Times in 1934, and Jewish Times sent it back to Rabbi Elmaleh with a 2-cent stamp.
Wow.
One more memory of Rabbi Elmaleh. I never called him Mr. Elmaleh. To me, he was my colleague, a rabbi of great distinction in the Philadelphia rabbinate. It was Kippur night. It was Motzai Kippur, when everyone says the Neilah. And Joe Elmaleh came to me and said, Rabbi, you must hurry up the Neilah service because I have a very important function to perform. My wife is pregnant and she is due to confine any moment. And I have to leave as soon as possible. Will you please hurry up the service? I said, Joe, I don't hurry up any service. But I appreciate the fact that you want to go home or you want to go to the hospital to be present when your wife confines. But there was only one problem. Joe was the shofar blower of our synagogue. Who was going to take his place? I had something up my sleeve. I had learned to blow the shofar when I was a boy. But I didn't tell anybody. In fact, the president of the congregation whispered to me and said, who's going to blow the shofar? I said, don't worry. Came the time to blow the shofar. I took the shofar and I blew it. Everyone was stunned, pleasantly surprised. Dr. Elmaleh came to me after the service and he congratulated me. I will never forget those greetings. Hazak ve'emas, he said. I have pleasant memories of Mikveh Israel and not so pleasant memories. But with Rabbi Elmaleh, it was an honor and a great experience to have him as a colleague and a friend. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Masiach. It's wonderful words. Just want to let you know, why do you think that Fanny Elmaleh ran into the office and said, Reverend Elmaleh did not blow the shofar because his doctor told him not to. Nevertheless, he still wanted, and he did it. So it's wonderful. The love of the tradition in his heart was from the day he was born to the day he would die. There's no doubt about that. It's wonderful. Following another minister also who sent us a wonderful remark is Reverend Alan Correa. Reverend Correa was the minister of this congregation from 1955 to 1963. And many people remember him very fondly. He is now in retirement, of course. He's in Florida and enjoys the beautiful sun, not like this weather that we have here. They're not wearing coats over there. But nevertheless, the warmth on the heart came out in a email that he sent, the remarks that he sent, which I'm very honored to read to you. So Reverend Corey writes and says, I'm so glad to hear that the beautiful painting of the Reverend Leon H. Elmaleh, which for so long hung on the wall in his house on Broad Street, has found a permanent home at Congregation Mikveh Israel, donated by his grandchildren in memory of their parents. It is a fitting memorial to a very special individual. Let me share a few items with you which may be of interest, things he told me or observation I made. And that's how I got my story about the shofar. He was a member of the first class of the Jewish Theological Seminary, founded in New York by Reverend Sabato Moraes. When Dr. Moraes interviewed the young applicant for admission, he observed that his English was halting and said, "Let us continue in Spanish." And the rest of the interview was conducted in that language. Soon after, he succeeded Dr. Moraes in his pulpit in Philadelphia. Years later, the seminary offered him an advanced degree, which he politely declined, since he did not care for the path the seminary has taken in latter years. He always stood on principle. At one point, he was offered the pulpit of the beautiful old Sephardi synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island. He discussed the offer with his president of the congregation, who said, "Did you agree to come here?" "Yes," he replied. "Then we cannot go there," said the president. That was the end of the discussion. He banked, as I did, at the Provident Trust Company on Erie Avenue. He spurned the bus or subway and walked. No great distance, it is true, but at a pace which left me totally breathless, as I often walked with him. His doctor had forbidden him to blow the shofar, but occasionally he would get a naughty twinkle in his eye and show his ability. No one could possibly perform that task better than he. He was a much-loved individual who supported me in every way. He gave me a beautiful book in Judeo-Arabic, which sparked my interest in the Mograbi dialect to good effect. He inscribed it to my friend Alan Corey, of whom I am very fond. His capacity for love was boundless. His was the last burial at Mikveh Israel Old Cemetery, and I had the great privilege to write his epitaph thereon. Lo, Judah is in the land of true life. His years were prolonged to 99. On holy soil, he was born in Haifa, and in the city of brotherly love, he served in a congregation. At the sound of his shofar, the working opened. He was whole with him who sits above the cherubim. The rite of Sepharad he knew expertly. Until old age he sang its songs, and his sap did not dry up. He fulfilled the divine commands forcefully, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Alan Corey, minister of Mikveh Israel, 1955 to 1963. And now, to conclude this part of the program, we're going to unveil the portrait. So we'll ask Ms. Francine Elmaleh and Mr. Michael E. Elmaleh, to the grandchildren and the grandchildren also, JD and Melissa, to join us and unveil the portrait, which is at the beginning of the room. And after that, we'll have benediction, refreshments, and we'll have also discussion. So we'll come back again here. Thank you.